including Putin, even though he has overstayed his constitutional term limit by at least 3 terms. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is June the 19th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as I'm recording, 1:30 a.m. in Kyiv, Ukraine, 1:30 a.m. in Israel, 2 a.m. in Tehran. And of course, we know all of these stories connecting more and more by the minute. And tonight, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy made a bold, direct statement directly connecting Russia and Iran and North Korea. I have it for you. I'm going to share it with you in just one moment. And in addition to that, as you can see by the title of the video and the thumbnail, he pulverizes, pastes Vladimir Putin tonight in his evening address, calling him an illegitimate president. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So I want to jump straight in. Also, breaking news right now, and it's actually coming out of multiple sources. They're talking about it in Russia, they're talking about it in Ukraine, and they're talking about it in the Middle East. And that is, there is a possibility that United States, if they strike, may surprise strike this weekend because the stock market is closed. Now, that's what they're talking about, but it's in multiple sources, multiple countries, not being talked about in the United States, but we shall see. And of course, we'll be here. That's why it's important to have that notification bell on. Thank you for being here, liking and subscribing. Also tonight, I've got Benjamin Netanyahu in his evening little statement that I think gives us a hint as well. He's speaking in Hebrew. I have it in English for you. So let's start with President Zelenskyy. Of course, yesterday, Vladimir Putin trolling him. Well, now it's Zelensky's turn. Here we go. Dear Ukrainians, this morning I visited the site where a Russian missile struck a residential building in Kyiv, an ordinary apartment building. The missile went through every floor all the way down to the basement. 23 people were killed by this single Russian strike alone. My condolences to their families and loved ones. The rescue operation lasted nearly 40 hours. Until the very last moment, rescuers were trying to pull people out alive from under the rubble. In total, with that massive strike on Ukraine, the Russians killed 30 people and injured 172. There was no military purpose to this strike whatsoever. It brought Russia absolutely nothing in military terms. It was deliberate terror. The same thing Russia's army under Putin has done everywhere, from Chechnya to Syria. This is the only thing Putin and his Russia truly know how to do well: kill and destroy. And this is exactly the dimension that unites Russia. With regimes like those currently in Iran and North Korea, right now Russia is trying to save Iran's nuclear program. There's no other way to interpret its public signals and behind-the-scenes activity. When one of their accomplices loses the ability to export war, Russia suffers, and they try to intervene, and this is cynicism at its worst, and this, time and again, proves that aggressive regimes must not be allowed to unite and become partners. When Iranian Shahed drones, now significantly upgraded, and ballistic missiles from North Korea, also modernized, kill our people in Ukraine, it is a clear sign that global solidarity and global pressure are not enough. So that there are no ultimatums. A real ceasefire is needed. A real end to the war is needed. Let's pause right there for a moment. Make sure you heard he's getting ready to drop the statement on Putin, but you have heard him declare openly it was not a military target in Kyiv. It was a civilian building. Today, Zelenskyy putting roses at that place. 30 killed, 172 wounded. He says the only thing that Russia is good at is terror. Just look at Chechnya, look at Syria. He talks about the evil regimes in Iran and North Korea, and those are the cronies of Putin that labor together to export terror to the world, and Putin needs Iran and Putin needs North Korea. Let him continue here. Ukraine is ready to meet at the highest level. That is the level where actual decisions are made, and I am ready to meet in any format with those who make decisions and hold the proper authority, including Putin, even though he has overstayed his constitutional term limit by at least 3 terms. And hopefully, the war can be brought to an end during President Trump's current term. I count heavily on his help. I count heavily on the influence of the United States. That is something that can make a difference and help us. Sanctions are needed. Diplomacy is needed. Security is needed. Glory to Ukraine. So there you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Direct, him calling Putin illegitimate. So what's good for the goose, and Zelenskyy is 100% legitimate. It's absolutely clear in the law of Ukraine, but he dropping the same statement back on Vladimir Putin. And then once again, I think Zelenskyy tonight offering an olive branch. I can tell you he was boiling mad that Donald Trump left Canada without speaking to him. Macron was boiling mad. And to be honest, the G7 was just a disaster. So we'll see. Zelenskyy there being very kind in his statements toward Donald Trump. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful Trump helps. I'm hopeful that the United States continues to help, but time will tell. I'm really not sure what's going to happen. One thing for sure is we will continue to hear this 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks. Now, I also have a clip from Dmitry Peskov. He is the official spokesperson for Vladimir Putin. Remember what I've told you guys, there's only 4 people that can speak officially for Russia. It's Vladimir Putin. It's Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister. It's Zakharova, the spokesperson for Lavrov. And it's Peskov, the spokesman for Vladimir Putin. If you hear anybody else talking, even Medvedev, Kirill Dmitriev, any of those, they got power. But it's not the same as those 4 in that close circle in the Kremlin. So this is what Peskov is talking about, and this is about Iran, and this is right at about the same time Zelenskyy was making his statements. Donald Trump at one time reacted quite positively to Vladimir Putin's proposal about possible Russian mediation between Israel and Iran. Now, in the current situation, are there direct contacts between Vladimir Vladimirovich and Donald Trump? And what is the future of this proposal for possible Russian mediation? President Putin is in dialogue and, in fact, has a partnership and a strategic partnership with Iran. And we also have a trusting relationship and working relationship with Israel. And President Putin is one of the few presidents who has had telephone contact since the start of this war with both the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of Iran and the President of the United States and the President of Turkey and the President of the United Arab Emirates. He has the full picture. And indeed, having such equidistant relations, Putin does have the potential to provide mediation services if they are needed by the parties that are involved in this conflict. For now, there are 2 sides to the conflict. These are Israel and Iran. But for now, quite frankly speaking, it is very difficult to see any ground for peaceful contacts when such a service will be needed. And for now, we are hearing statements from Israel and Iran in the direction of continuing the exchange of missile bombings. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and that's accurate. Israel is not stopping, and I'm going to validate that for you in just a moment with Benjamin Netanyahu as we close out this update. But Peskov, they just play that game. Oh, well, it's logical. Vladimir Putin, we have a strategic agreement with Iran, and we have a trusting friendship with Israel. And to be honest, Putin has talked to Iran and Israel and UAE and Turkey and USA, and he's the logical choice to mediate this war. If he's needed, we'll be here. We'll be ready to help. Of course, They would love for Putin to be the mediator. Why? So he can continue to feed the Russian war machine from Iran. Reminder, it is Russians working in the nuclear facilities in Iran. They even stated that themselves today, and you can see that confirmation on my video earlier today if you missed that one. Now, Peskov saying, really doesn't matter. They're just going to continue striking each other. And tonight, I'm looking over here on this screen, they are. Heavy strikes continuing from both sides, Israel to Iran, Iran to Israel, and no end of that in sight. And reminder, it's rumored out there, we could see something from the United States this weekend before the stock market opens on Monday. I don't know. It's not just Russia. I'm seeing it in Ukraine. I'm seeing it in Middle Eastern countries as well. So we shall see. Now, let's get to Benjamin Netanyahu. Tonight, he was asked a few questions in Hebrew, about a 30-second clip, and this tells the whole story as to where we're going. At what stage are we in this fighting? You say you were incredibly proactive. Do we have weeks, more days, more months ahead of us, and order of magnitude? Good question. I'll give you an evasive answer. I'm not going to tell you anything, and I'm deliberately evasive. We are at war. I'm not going to hand over the processions of our times to the Ayatollah, and I'm not going to tell them what we're planning. We overload them. We surprise them. I am determined that we will achieve all of our goals, all of their nuclear facilities within our power to do so. But the United States president's decision on whether he wants to join or not, that is his decision. He will do what is best for the United States, obviously, and I will do what is best for the state of Israel. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Benjamin Netanyahu just a little while ago making his statement. I don't know what the U.S. is going to do. We'll see. Very coy. But he was very direct. We're not ending until it's over. They're going to be completely destroyed. All of our targets are done, including all nuclear facilities. And the word used there is all. And that would include the Fordow nuclear facility that right now Israel is saying they need help to destroy with the bunker busting bombs from the United States. And that is what is being decided upon. So we shall see. But thank you for your attention. This is where we're at tonight as we close out. Make sure you have those notification bells on if you have so chosen to subscribe to the channel. If so, we appreciate it because at any moment, I sleep very little. We go live if things go crazy. And in addition to that, we're constantly working to bring you the truth, work together, labor together for the best. Be blessed, and we'll be back at you.